In Parshas Vayishlach, the Torah tells us that Yaakov realizes that the confrontation with Esav is about to happen, and so he decides that he has to prepare himself. He has to prepare himself spiritually by davening to Hashem, by praying to God and asking God to protect him. We're told that Yaakov was concerned that maybe he used up some of his merits after God promised that he would return him to the land of Israel. Maybe things had changed, and so he asks Hashem to please protect him and to save him from his brother Esav, who he was sure he knew wanted to kill him. He was just told so. And then he prepares physically. And one of the ways that he prepares physically is that he prepared for war. He split his camp into two. And the other is that he tried to appease Esav. The pasuk tells us, "Vayalen sham balayla," who after he davened to Hashem, after he prayed for Hashem for his spiritual success, Vayikach min haba biyado, he takes that which came to his hand, mincha, as a gift to his brother Esav, le'esav achiv. And so Rashi explains, what does it mean, min haba biyado, that came to his hands? That Yaakov was very aware of all that he had, and he knew exactly what he wanted to give to Esav. He didn't have to start thinking to himself and contemplating. He was very keen on exactly what he had in all of his, what became his riches and all of his sheep and his cattle. He decided what to send as a present to his brother, to Esav. But there's a lesson that can be learned from here, and it's from the Kotzker Rebbe. The Kotzker Rebbe says, "Vayikach min haba biyado." If one takes from that which simply comes to one's hand, then it's a mincha le'esav achiv. That's considered to be a gift to Esav. What does that mean? He says the following. He says, in life, there are certain times where we just grab mitzvahs. We see a mitzvah opportunity, we just grab it. We see someone who is struggling with something, who drops something on the floor, we go and we pick it up for them. That's a wonderful mitzvah that we do. It's an opportunity that simply comes to our hands. There are those type of mitzvahs, and then there's the balance between taking that kind of a mitzvah that simply comes to our hands that wasn't pre-planned, and a mitzvah that we try to grab quickly. So, for example, I don't have so much time, but I have to bench after eating. I'm just going to bench quickly without thinking or focusing on it. So says the Kotzker Rebbe, if you're going to just grab mitzvos, just going to go through the routine without focusing, without being mindful of the mitzvah that we're observing, then that's a mincha, that's a gift, not to Hashem, but that's a gift le'esav achiv. That's a gift to Esav. Because even though we think that we're just going through the action, that we're performing the mitzvah, but Hashem doesn't see sincerity, Hashem doesn't see us taking our time, Hashem doesn't see us trying to do the mitzvah as mindfully as possible. After all, we say mitzvahs tzrichos kavana, that one has to have kavanah, one has to have concentration when performing mitzvahs. And the big discussion as to in the Gemara as to whether one needs to have concentration or not have concentration. Obviously, the ideal is for an individual when performing any mitzvah to make sure that they're concentrating, that they recognize that they know what it is that they're doing. Not to simply grab mitzvahs that come to our hands from the perspective of just getting it done, but performing mitzvahs when they come to our hands at any opportunity, and focusing and recognizing and realizing and making sure that we're sincere when performing them. Of course, the news from Israel daily has been really very, very tragic. And we need to ask ourselves, what is it that we can do to try in some way to get HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to get God to listen to our prayers, to show His midah, to show His trait of rachamim, of mercy. And the world in general has become a scarier, more frightening place. So one of the areas that perhaps we could improve is in the method in which we do mitzvos, becoming more mindful of our mitzvos, so that we and our brothers and sisters in Israel are protected, just as Yaakov was protected from the hand of Esav by Hashem, so too that we are protected by the hand of Esav in this world by Hashem as well. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.